yeah, so the background is very similar to what we did with Brad. I don't know, when was that, Brad? About a year ago, or
about a year ago.
Yeah,
maybe just over. I don't know, but
so just after Brad joined EXP, I mean, he's a top agent in Joburg, and he had a real slump, and I hadn't made a sale for whatever it was, 4 or 5 months, I think it was, Brad.
Yeah, that's right.
And Brad reached out to me, and we ended up putting together a kind of group, which it didn't have as jazzy a name. I gave this one a jazzy name.
the breakthrough group.
The breakthrough group. Oh, that's what it was called, the breakthrough group. Yeah. And I just gathered a few of our top agents and said, okay, let's see if we can help Brad. And I want to use the same format as we used for that meeting today for Elmarie, because Elmarie has reached out to me with a similar concern. It's been tough, and just kind of feeling a bit stuck. So what we do is we'll give Elmarie the floor, and for you, Elmarie, to just talk through as much detail as you can about where you're at in your business, what the struggles are, what you have tried and hasn't worked, what you think you should try, like where do you think the solutions might lie. Just do a massive brain dump of where you're at and what you're thinking, so that, the more information you give us, the better we can respond. And then what we'll do is we'll open it up for questions. If you want to talk, just put your hand up so that we can do it in an orderly fashion. And then once we've done questions, to try to draw out a fuller picture of where we think Elmarie is at, then we will go around the room, and each person can have a chance to just share their opinion on what they think Elmarie can do going forwards. And what I have found in meetings like this is, well, certainly Brad said, it was a massive breakthrough in his business. He then kept again now in 10 weeks in his second year at EXP, and Brad was actually very good. Elmarie, I think you can take a leaf out of his book. After the meeting, he gave point by point feedback on each of the pieces of advice he got from the group as to what he had done, and he gave us feedback on how it was working. And I really appreciated that about Brad's approach, because at the end of the day, nobody felt like they'd wasted their time. Like, we really felt like Brad took it seriously. He implemented what we'd advised him to do, and it worked. So it was encouraging for everyone. Everyone will learn today. So I think that's enough from me. Has anybody got anything to add to that before we hand over to Elmarie? Happy? Okay. Elmarie, over to you. And guys, if you can just mute your mics while Elmarie's talking. Okay, great. Thanks, Elmarie. So let's before we jump in with advice and stuff, let's pursue the questions that are on your mind right now. Like, Elmarie, you didn't talk about this. What did you think about that, or whatever? So let's pursue that a bit. Brad, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I just wanted to say, Elmarie, first of all, you're not alone in your distress at the moment. I think there are many agents that are really feeling this tough market, and we all feel your pain. It's very tough out there, very, very tough. It's the toughest market I think any of us have experienced in our careers, and I think you just got to be a bit easy on yourself, and not beat yourself up about it. I know I was in exactly the same position a year ago, and so that's the message. The first message I just wanted to impart is maybe just go easy on yourself, because it is tough out there. But I suppose the immediate issue is to try and resolve your cash flow, your short-term cash flow. You mentioned that you've got 3 deals in the pipeline, 2 of which are stuck because of building plans. I just wanted to understand what you mean there. What is it about the building plans that's holding up the transfer?
And the other one, I actually want to ask you if you know somebody in Johannesburg, because the other one is also, my buyer has to sell a property in Belglary or something like that.
Belgary.
Yeah. And it's a heritage place. So
Okay.
she's been struggling, and the guy that's helping
got
her.
I've got a brilliant lady for you. She used to work at council in Joburg. She knows the heritage rules backwards, and she'll get it. She'll get the plans for you.
Oh,
I'll
thank
send you
you,
details.
because that's just we're waiting for that. So, and the guy that helped her is now in ICU for 2 weeks, so she couldn't get hold of him. So it's just the one thing after the other. But that will be great.
Yeah, she's called Frantic Plans.
Oh, okay.
her May from Frantic Plans. I'll send you her May's number now.
Hi, Elmarie.
Hi, Andre.
We've chatted so many times. This is just more for interest's sake. How long have you been in real estate?
12 years.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know that. Okay. My question's more aimed at, I mean, it's a tough market, like Brad said, really. I mean, even in Cape Town, we were almost sort of resistant against the market for a long time, but it's tough here as well now. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just reiterating that. And I just want to know, based on directed at the question that you're not getting buyers. I mean, I know it's a tough market anyway, but just so we know, can you tell me exactly sort of, if you have a sole mandate, exactly where you advertise, and if you any paid advertising, where that gets done as well?
Hi, Almarie.
Hi, Ferdy.
Almarie, I think I made a note here. You're focusing on exclusives all the time. Those aren't drawing any attention at this stage. Do you cut out open mandates completely out of your diet, or do you venture into taking open mandates and work, although you might not list open, but if there's opens in your area, that you could maybe just funnel those through as part of your marketing campaign. Just take a buyer through that might be a sellable open that you can add into your listing arsenal. Because I'm thinking, if your exclusives aren't pulling the necessary buyers through, you might stumble upon 1 or 2, 3 opens that you can just maybe take your buyers through and possibly sell those without having to share with somebody else as well. Because I feel almost you made a point, that you've done certain basic stuff during your career, and you've answered that actually. You said you just need to go back to basics and start doing those spot buys, all those kinds of things. And I think you are doing so well. When I listen to you now, you're doing a lot more than most agents in terms of marketing. It is just, I think Bradley said it, just sort of take a deep breath, focus again, and not beat yourself up, because it is stuff out there. I just want you to know, everyone, Andres mentioned it as well, the market is very, very stiff at the moment, and you're doing all the right things by the sounds of it. It just don't, and I know it's emotional. We get personally invested in these transactions and the clients that you want to service. And if it doesn't come together, you feel that you're letting the clients down. So I think, like you said, step back, go back to the basics for a couple of months and see how that runs. Yeah, maybe I just want to clarify that what I mean by taking on board an open. If you see an open and you have a buyer particularly looking for a property that, let's say for instance, they're looking at your property, your sole mandate A, but that's not a fit for them, but you see 2 or 3 other properties in your area that could potentially fit their criteria. Maybe then jump in there and say to the seller, listen, I've got a buyer, can I bring them without you having to focus or list that property, sort of as an aside and an additional option for you. Just try that kind of avenue as well. That's what I suggest.
Yeah.
Almarie, I'm not sure what the market is like in your specific area in Centurion, but speaking from my market here in the parks in Joburg, price and reason for sale are more critical than ever before. If the seller's reason for sale is not there, it's a total waste of time, And second, if their price is wrong, it's also a total waste of time. So I just wanted to ask you what your strategy is for, how aggressively do you price counsel your sellers, and what is your strategy for price counseling them? How do you go about it? So I think it needs to be weekly.
Okay.
I think you need to have those conversations weekly with your seller. That's what I do on a weekly basis. If I've done a show day and I haven't had an offer, I'm dropping the price that Monday. It doesn't make sense to continue at the same price. Just to waste a month at the same price is a waste of time. And I'm finding, I don't know what you are, but to drop a price by 5% or 10% is not making a difference. You've got to sort of radically drop the price. It's got to come down 20%. In order to get, you're saying you're not getting inquiries, it's because of the price. They're seeing the price, and if you're printing out those Property 24 activity reports and showing that to your seller, I don't know if you do that. Do you get those Property 24 activity reports? You can ask the transaction ladies to download it for you if you don't have access to it. But those are powerful because you can see on a daily basis how many clicks the property is attracted. And if you're getting thousands of clicks on a listing and no inquiries, it's clear as day what the issue is. It's the price. You are doing weekly feedback with your seller.
I started weekly, but it takes so much time.
Absolutely. But that's my principal used to talk about, my old company used to talk about 500 Rand an hour minutes, 500 Rand an hour activities. If you say you want to earn 500 Rand an hour, if you consider yourself a professional and you need to earn a certain salary, it's those activities, sitting in your seller's lounges, giving them the feedback that are earning you the money. And you get, I would say, with every single conversation you have with your seller, it's got to be about price. You've got to get the price right. And the minute the price is right, in my experience, that property sells. You can sit for months at the wrong price and have no interest. So that's where the reason for sale is so critical. If the seller's reason is not there, they're just testing the market, they're wasting your time. If they're leaving the country, if they're one of the Ds, leaving the country, getting divorced, going through debt issues, or what's the other one? Death, somebody's died. Then those are the sellers you want. So my advice, what I wanted to suggest is to pick. I see you've got about 16 listings on the XP website, and they look really nice listings, and all in similar areas and similarly priced, which means that if you've got a buyer at a certain price level, you should be able to show them a whole bunch of houses, which is the ideal situation. But what I wanted to suggest is pick your sort of 2 or 3 or 4 most serious sellers, the ones that have to sell. They're leaving the country by the end of the year. They've got to sell. Pick your 4 top D sellers and seriously price counsel those sellers. Radically drop those prices. And one of the ways that I did that effectively, coming out of the breakthrough group discussion we had with Steve and the guys last year, was to do those agent power hours. And I really encourage you to do those. It kind of goes against the grain as agents. We don't want to involve other agents on our mandates, but do it. It really has worked for me. I'd encourage you to do that, and do it in a strategic and methodical way. So what I did was I arranged an open hour. I invited agents that I felt I could trust, that I could work with. Didn't invite everybody. I invited 4 or 5, 6 agents that I believed I could work with. And I asked them 2 things. I asked them firstly to, invited them to the show day, or this little agent's open hour. I asked them, my brief to them was twofold. I said, firstly, I need your honest, accurate valuation of this property. If you had to sell it today, what would you price it at? And I asked them to put that valuation in writing so that I could then go and present it to the seller. And the second thing I asked them to do was to introduce their buyers. Any buyers that they felt were appropriate to introduce to the home, I would welcome those buyers and I would split the commission with them. So that was my invitation to those agents, and they responded really well. I got fantastic feedback. I got written valuations. I then went back to my seller immediately that day. I presented those valuations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 written valuations to my seller. So it wasn't coming from me. I wasn't the bad cop. The market was telling them what the property was, the value was, and that helped me to radically get the price down. And the other thing which I did in conjunction with that agent's show there was to do an FNB valuation. So I'd encourage you to do those as well on your top 4 D sellers. Get the FMB evaluator in. It doesn't cost the seller or you anything. And again, it's another written valuation, another written opinion of the value of the property from the market. And so I did that as well in conjunction with the agent's show there. And those together helped me to get the price down. Once I brought the price down, I then did a very active marketing campaign like you do with Flow. Did a Flow marketing campaign. I did featured listings online. I did show days. So you really want to pump it once you've got the price right, and just generate that immediate activity. So I'd encourage you to implement those on your top 4 D sellers. Don't waste time on the ones that are not serious sellers.
And if you, how do you do your commission split if you get the agents to help
50-50.
you?
I'd rather 50% of the commission than 0.
Okay.
And the reality was, I didn't sell those properties as a result of my competitor agents bringing buyers through. I sold them because of getting the price right, and the other agents helped me to do it. And the other byproduct of this whole exercise is that it helps you to build relationships with other agents.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Brian.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, that's what Brad has actually, he's covered much of what I wanted to say. I've done the same thing with the open hour, but I didn't invite specific agents, and I think that's my mistake. I opened it up to a group of 300 agents, and when the agents that came through, a lot of them were rookies, and they didn't. The valuation of one of my houses, which is on for 3 million, it varied from 2.1 to 2.7. And they didn't want to write it down. So I think I've got to do what Brad does also. Is I've got to know the reason, which D it is for your sellers. What is the reason for selling? Departure, disease, divorce, death, that kind of thing. If you know the motivating factor for them selling, then it definitely helps with your price counseling. But I think getting it in writing from the agents that you invite to your open house, like I did 2 last week, that's vital. So it's not necessarily coming from you, it's the advice of other experienced agents that know the market well. So it takes the heat off you, and then it's not just your opinion. So I think that'll definitely help if you also know the reasons for selling, if they're disclosing it to you. And then just to help you with your cash flow problem, I don't understand why the bridging finance companies won't give you bridging finance if unless those plans is a suspensive condition. If the bonds have been approved and the cash is available, I don't understand why you can't get bridging finance for if you need the money. Because there's a company called Snapit that might better help you with your cash flow. I don't think they are so strict when it comes to building plans. But I don't know, maybe you can answer that and tell us why you're having these issues with bridging finance. And then also with your buyers, I have a very similar, I was on another Zoom about a week ago where I don't do much with buyers either. So you either, give those buyers away to somebody in your team, to another agent you want to build relationships with, and then focus on getting more correctly priced mandates. But it doesn't sound like you have a stock problem. It sounds like you have a price problem.
Yeah. I'll check my prices. I think is good, but I'll do like Brad said, just weekly go back, take that P24 statistics to them and show them. And I also want to do that open hours with the agents.
Yeah, I'm actually learning a lot from this because I've got 2 houses I need to price counsel myself. And unfortunately, these agents never wrote down these valuations because I invited every Tom, Dick and Harry. It wasn't specific with who I invited. You need to invite the agents that are top selling agents in your area so that advice is more pertinent.
Thanks, Brian.
Right, thanks, Brian. Omri, so I've got a couple of questions. I think the first thing I wanted to just commend you on is your lead gen. I know you had a rough patch with your PAs, but it sounds to me like you're getting back into the groove of your database communication, and your newsletters are going out, and you might even be able to start with your tuk local marketing again with all your little deliveries. And I think even though stock is not your problem, more well-priced stock is always the answer to whatever your problem in real estate is. More well-priced stock is the answer. So I would encourage you to do that. My questions are really on two things. You say you think your prices are good, but I think Brad made the point well. If you just look at in the cold light of day of what's happening to you right now, you've got whatever it was, 18 listings, and you say you're getting no inquiries. I can tell you your pricing is not good. Your pricing is not good, because if there's no inquiries, it's price.
No.
So my question, and this would be interesting to hear others' feedback on this. Yes, take it at the higher price, and then after 2 weeks, as Brad says, or even on a weekly basis, try to get it reduced. I remember reading some research many years ago, and we actually produced one of our items of value at Providence Days on this, that says if you price a home incorrectly, you miss 80% of the good buyers in the first 2 weeks. Because people who are serious and who are serious buyers right now, they are on P24 every single day. When something new comes on the market, boom, they see it. They get the alert there. I know when we were searching for a house, I think my wife looked at something like 80 properties before we bought our home. And she was in touch with every agent. She was on P24. I mean, the buyers these days are educated. And so if a home comes on the market day one and it's overpriced, they see it, they think it's not in my price bracket, or they miss the alert, or whatever the case may be. Then it comes down 2 weeks later. Even if it's 2 weeks, the buyers are thinking, these guys were cheeky, they're overpriced, they must be desperate. It's only been 2 weeks and they're already bringing the price down. These guys are desperate. So now they say, if we hang in there for another week or two, the price is going to come down more. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's make a cheeky offer, because these guys are desperate. You're on the back foot from the very beginning if you price wrongly. So I guess my question, be interested to hear everyone's feedback on this. And you can push back as hard as you want and say it's not possible, we can't do this. In reality, it doesn't work. You've never worked as an agent, Stephen, you don't know. And that may be true. But my question is it not possible to, through generating more leads, seller leads, get far more hardcore with what listings you actually are willing to take, and that you are happy with the price from the word go? That's my question. Is that not something that can be looked at? My second question is around broadening the circle of agents you work with. If you're struggling with buyers, who's got all the buyers? Agents have got the buyers. To me, what Brad did is, it just is the most common sense approach to real estate. Build relationships with a bigger circle of good agents that you trust. So, I've got this thing that you said, I don't trust agents. And I want to challenge you to rethink that. I'm not saying trust those who are untrustworthy. Just saying reach out to good agents, more good agents, try to build a relationship, open your listings to them, because you then have a much bigger pool of buyers that you've got access to for these properties, and that's what you're after. And in fact, what will happen is they will reciprocate. If you build a good relationship and agents love working with you and you've opened their listings to them, I'm sure Brad can tell us, they will start doing the same for you. So, can you broaden the circle of agents that you work with in your area? Any comments on that, Omri, and then others?
Thanks,
You almost snuck in there in front of you, Shaw.
Yeah, he's stuck in.
Before the
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for that chance. Hi, Elmarie.
Sure.
So I just want to say, first of all, I was there driving around in Centurion the other day, and I saw some of your outdoor advertising and your big smile, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I want to say is and I want to echo a lot of what's being said. First of all, it's tough. It's very tough. I've had a relatively good run with EXP, consistently selling over 2 years until about July this year, and then it dipped. And there's a bit of a flurry now, but it's tough. So what I think, or what I want to say is we need to analyze the market. I've got a real life example that I'm going to give to you now, which will basically echo what's being said in the group. And also what Steve said now about price. I mean, at the end of the day, it's simple. We all know it. It's not selling. Your 10 mandates that usually sold are not selling because of price. Okay. And I'm telling you now, what I've seen is we are getting it wrong. Okay. We are getting price wrong. I mean, I recently got price wrong for the first time in a very long time. And the thing is, I had facts. So I had price determined on facts and I was wrong, right? So what's happening in my area is the prices are dipping, all right? And this specific property I was involved with, at the end of the day, sold at a discount of about 12-13% to what market value was deemed to be when I listed the property. So that's why we are saying to each other, we aren't getting buyers. We've got mandates, but we're not getting buyers. The price is not right, and we are, I think, also giving the wrong advice at the moment, because we are looking at historic info to determine value, but currently the historic info is not giving us the answers of what's going on in the market. I mean, if you take those 10 mandates, like what Brad said, I mean, take your 3 or 4 or 5 most motivated sellers, take that price and reduce it by 12-13%, 15 maybe, even up to 20. See where you get, and talk to those people and get those prices down, because that's all what it is. And I saw it in this specific listing. It was around 2 million in Waverley, Pretoria, which is a very popular area, nice house. And my sellers was one of the 3Ds. I mean, divorced. They don't want to talk to each other, but I'm their best friend. And well, at the beginning, and then drop price, and they obviously had to sell, so it had to go. And at the end of the day, I got a lot of answers in this specific transaction. And that's why I'm saying I think we need to make sure we work with the right sellers and that they are motivated, as Brad said. Analyze the market, spend a bit of time analyzing the market, because that's where our challenges are at the moment. And then, and then price counsel hard. That's a change that I've made to what I do. It's a tough part of our business. You come in, you work with sellers that like you, and then, you get through the front door, and then 2 weeks later you tell them, okay, sir, right, now we're going to start dropping the price. That's not always easy, but we have to do it, and we have to back it up with facts, with stats. That's black and white, don't lie. I prefer black and white to what some other agents say. Because agents, they are in the market, but if you know your stats and you can show it to your seller, black and white, paper does not lie. So that's my piece of advice. And then the last thing that I've just made note of here is what I'm doing at the moment, and it's a mental thing, because we've got more or less all the tricks amongst ourselves. As you said, you've sold, you've been in the market for a long time, you've made money, but now you don't have money, and people don't want to breach, and it's plans, etc., etc. And we get demotivated, and that's why we are here. So what I do is I've just got a little bit of a mental thing whereby I've just said to myself, well, let's take it day by day. Okay. So, time block, that's something I learned with the previous company where I came from, and also a little points game, where you give yourself points for certain activities you do. The most important activities. And focus on that, because it's very difficult in this market to keep yourselves positive, and that's what I'm doing at the moment, to sort of keep myself going, because if you know what you have to do and you do it for 2 hours every day, consistently, and that's your target for today, is to do that things you need to do. And then you do it and you feel good at the end of the day, and you do it again tomorrow and again on the next day. And then suddenly you have a buyer to work with, suddenly you have a new listing, and suddenly you've got business on your lap. So, we can all do our own little exercises, but that's what I do. But I think the principle is important, and it's, the mental sort of staying positive and being mentally tough, because if you are not that in the current market, I think we're going to fall off the bus, because it's tough. We've all said it, it's tough, and I see it around us, it's tough. Boards go up, properties don't sell, and that's what we have to sort of come over, to stay in the market. Yeah, and that's my little story.
Thank you, Joel. Wow. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so all the best, and we should maybe meet up sometime.
Yes, I'll give you a call, and we'll have
you're welcome to pop in my office.
Thank
if
you,
you're in the Rittendale area, always welcome.
Thank you.
Super. I think that's a good idea. Brad. No, sorry, Brad. Andre.
Not Brian yet. Just on that show, thanks for all that, man. I think we must actually get you on a retainer, and you can appear online for us when we do price counseling, because you've got a very sort of calm, collected, but persuasive manner about you. And you look very intelligent, by the way.
I don't mind.
But yeah, Elmarie, okay, what everybody said, price. I mean, that's always the big thing. But even sometimes you get the price which is perceived to be right, like Charles says, and it doesn't work. I've got a couple of ideas I'm going to throw at you. You can take some, leave some might not work in your market, etc. Some work in our market and still not magic because we're having a tough time here. And one of our big problems is we're also cash flow strained hard at the moment. So the things that often work are the things you think long and hard about. Sometimes you think too long because it's a catch-22 situation. It either costs you money on advertising or it costs you money on commission splits. But then 2 weeks down the line or a month down the line, you realize you should have actually done that because now you've got no cash flow. So, okay, the things I'm going to talk about. First thing, advertising spend. You talked about flow marketing, etc. So what I found, firstly, what I found with like your normal property 24s and things like that, they very area bound because obviously you're relying on the fact that a buyer is going to property 24 and searching that specific suburb, or otherwise that he's set up his alerts for that suburb. So we found it's very area bound, and sometimes they very quickly, in other words, exhaust the area buyers for that area. So what we found very often, I've been doing Facebook marketing for a very long time. So Flow does make it easier. The sort of, if you do it yourself, it's a bit, you've got a bit more customization and so on. So then what we do is we target similar areas with Facebook marketing. So a guy who was not going to find my property because he is not looking in Saunstraal Heights. He just isn't. He thinks he needs to be 2 suburbs closer to the school. And then when you flash this house at him and it goes up for the second time because Facebook keeps showing it at him because you targeted his areas, he appears. Another plus point about the paid Facebook marketing, we have sold many houses to people who have not even started looking on Property 24. But they're actually in the market, and then the husband have said, we've really got to start looking now, and they haven't started. And then you flash this house up in front of them, and they, yes, let's go look at this one. So I'm just saying, so Facebook marketing does work, paid advertising does work, but it does cost money. And Flow, I don't know, I see, especially when you go on Flow, it always gives you a first option that's very expensive. It's like 500 Rand or 400 Rand for 3 days or something like that. In my experience, but I did figure out you can actually drop down and customize that in Flow. So I use that when we get our vouchers, but I still use my own Facebook marketing. And there I try to stick to stretch the marketing because I find if I'm advertising a property rather than 3 days for 500 Rand, I can actually advertise it for 10 days for 500 Rand. It's going to see the same amount of people, but Facebook's algorithms, I think, tend to pick up more as it goes along. And we tend to get actually better response sort of around day 6, 7, and 8 on Facebook advertising. It's as though Facebook tends to start realizing where the attention is coming from. Anyway, so all that is aimed at trying to find buyers more in different areas or that are not really actively looking on Property 24. Then I want to get back to the mini listing thing and opening to agents. And I'm much like you, and I'm really a control freak, and I hate people bringing me messy offers and funny buyers and things like that. But right now, we've just sold a 4.2 million house. Again, we clung to it as long as we could because we really do need the cash flow. Now we're losing 50% of it, but we're also getting 50%. So, and this was the same thing. So what we tend to do, we've got a good list of agents already that we usually work with. I send it to them, but when I send the invite, already for the open house or the mini listing for these agents, I send them a WeTransfer link with all the photos, all the declarations, everything, fixtures list, and my OTP already filled in with the property details. So I don't want to get their OTP coming to me. I don't want that. And then from there on, you're just a bit stricter when they come to offers. You make sure you've got the answers before you go to your seller. Sometimes it looks a bit messy. Then you first ask the agent. Anyway, so just that sometimes takes a bit of the pressure off and you feel more in control of the situation. And it works. And the other thing is when inviting agents, this is the other thing. Again, you can, don't always concentrate on those area agents. In some companies, the agent will only be able to work in that area where your property is. And you often want agents who are allowed to work other areas because they'll have different buyers again. It's the same as you're attracting buyers potentially from different areas, but that will look at this area because it's similar. So there again, just get the right agents, but get a broader spectrum of agents that maybe work in surrounding areas. And now they will have buyers that have not reacted to your Property 24. I think that's my 2 cents worth.
Oh, thank you, Andre. So the Facebook marketing, do you just put it for 10? It's all paid ads, or do you also just do this? You do the non-paid ads as well, and does that also work for you?
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but obviously we do our Facebook, all our Facebook pages, and Lydia's personal profile we use. I mean, she's got 5,000 friends because we use it for business, and that helps. It does attract attention. Then I don't know about your area, but we've got quite a couple of Facebook groups in the area which allow, and they've got 30,000 people on, and do allow us to post one ad a day, etc. That also works. And then from the paid advertising point of view, yeah. Now Flow basically just makes paid advertising easier for people. And as I said, I did see you can customize a bit the price and so on. But I've always been doing it in Meta's back end, just my own paid advertising. And yeah, they are trying to extend the period, rather pay. If you're going to spend 500 rand, rather have a 10-day ad. They won't allow you to spend only 20 rand a day. But anyway, so it's usually about 40 rand a day. I'd rather have a 10-day ad. And what Flow tries to get from you at the start is they try to get 450 rand or something for 3 days. But you can extend that on Flow as well. So Flow does pretty much the same job, but then when you get through to the areas, you might just select, it'll automatically, Flow automatically selects the area where the property is in. You might just go there and remove that area and maybe go to different areas, sort of play around a bit.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andre.
Brad, I think you were next. I know you got booted out of the meeting, so your hand was up. But Brad, you go. Okay, I think Brad may be on his phone. Ferdy, you pick it up.
Yes.
Sorry.
Henri, I think what I wanted to pick up on is most of the comments have come through. You are a nice person. We're agents, we're nice people. We don't want to be sort of abrasive and come across as aggressive when we do the listing. Now we take on board this overpriced listing to see how it goes. But I think what Stephen has said, and what Charles also said, I think Brad mentioned it as well, that price counseling session starts right from the word go. I mean, I want to give a quick example. I've lost 2 mandates in the last 3 months. They were on the market, overpriced. We went in overpriced, contrary to my stats, my counseling right from the word go. Because I'm a nice guy, I say, okay, let's try it. The seller wants 3 million. It's bull. It's not going to work. Now, 2 weeks later, you price counsel, they don't. And the funny part is the one seller is a bank valuer, a sworn valuer. Doesn't want to listen to the agent's area expertise and the advice that the agent gives him. He knows best. 6 months later, the mandate's expired. He doesn't want to renew the mandate, open to everybody. He sold 50K below what I valued the house at initially. 6 months later, he sold it now to another. I got fed up. I said, listen, keep your house. I'm off. Because you're wasting money, you're wasting time. His brother-in-law, the same thing. That mandate's grossly overpriced, same situation. I've walked away now. So my psyche is, if there is an indication that this guy's not going to listen to me or to you, I'd rather walk away from the bush. They're not going to come down with the price. And like Brad said, 2 weeks in, you reduced, or I think it was Shaw, you reduced the price. Now you look, gee, there's something wrong with this house. 2 weeks in, we've reduced the price by 50K. People are taking chances. So that's the thing. And the other thing that I want to ask you, when last have you taken a break, a weekend, a day off? Schedule that in. Was that something that I've learned? Is we work 24/7, 7 days a week. You want show on Sunday, so you're working from Monday to Monday. But you forget that you actually need to look after yourself as well, spiritually, psychologically, physically. So you need to schedule in a break day. Mark it in your calendar and stick to that day. Whether it's a Wednesday afternoon, whatever, sports parade, you go, you do that you need to do. But we need to schedule rest in as well, just to keep our sanity and our wits about us.
Thank you, Ferdy. That's very true because I can just work and work and work.
Okay, yeah, from my side, I also have a mandate which was overpriced. I took it in and thought, okay, I will get the price cancelling done, did the valuation, everything. And after that, the seller still wants his price. The end of the day, we get the right price. My mandate expire and to give the sole man to another agent. So I think it is important to do the price cancelling from the start because now everybody's looking at me, you didn't do a good job. But you will not sell it anyway because they increase the price again. But yeah, it was not a nice experience for me. And that's from my side.
Yeah, that's
Right.
always bad if you try and help and you try and help and at the end they give it to somebody else, they open it. Yeah.
And I was one time with the agent where all the agents was together and she walked away. She said, but this house is overpriced. I'm not wasting my time. And she genuinely walk away. And at the end of the day, who's getting the sole mandate? That lady.
Yeah.
Because she was honest and she was, yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, you're back.
Steve, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just in the car and to an appointment, so sorry for the missed connection there. I think a lot's been said about price. I just wanted to say I think we have a slightly unique situation in Gauteng specifically because our market is so bad up here relative to other provinces. And I think the challenge for us agents in Gauteng is to really challenge our own perceptions, preconceptions about value. I think Charles said it well just now. You can't assume that you know the value of a property because I'm constantly shocked by how where buyers are coming in and where buyers are seeing value. And so that was just the point I wanted to make is we really need to challenge our own perceptions about value and I think if an owner has owned a property in Gauteng, if an owner's owned a property for less than 10 years, you can pretty much put your head in a block and say they're going to lose money when they sell the house. It's just about it's just about as bad as that. So just don't assume that you know the value of property, and at the end of the day, a property is worth what a buyer is prepared to pay for it. And your job as an agent is to bring the seller the offer. So take every offer. Don't ever assume that an offer is too low or that your seller won't look at it. They won't accept it. The offer is a opportunity to bring the seller. So that's the point I wanted to make. Thanks.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad. I think it's a mindset. We must also change our mindset to say, listen, you have to come. The market is bad, and thank you.
It's but I also think we need to challenge our own language around the market. I often catch myself saying, "Oh, this market is bad. It's terrible. It's tough."
Yeah.
There's an agent a very successful agent who I used to work with, who says the exact opposite constantly. He says, "Yeah, this market is pumping. I can't get enough houses. I can't sell them fast enough." And because of that attitude, he sells everything. So I think we just have to catch the language that we're telling ourselves and other people about the market all the time.
Just as I said, the market is bad, I realized you don't say that. It's a challenging market, but you can still make money. So I try to not say bad market. I try to say, yeah, it's challenging, but we make it. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Elmarie, I hope that you've got some help. I know it's probably overwhelming, but hopefully you got a lot of notes that you took.